Right, hello everyone. How is everybody today? Just getting some table towels ready for our demo today. I'm going to be working with acrylics, so I just want to cut my table towels. So I've got some smaller pieces to use to wipe my brush on. So if you're wondering what the heck I'm doing, that is what I am doing right now. So just kind of getting everything all ready to go here. You guys, welcome in. Happy, I think it's Tuesday today. Like I said, we're going to be doing some acrylic. Hopefully you guys just were over on TikTok watching Greg with his demo. So you guys, we have so much education for you here. Make sure that if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to all of our channels so you can get all of that education. And you can also text us and we can send you notifications when we go live. So you guys make sure that you are doing these things. Make sure that you are getting notifications when we do go live. So again, you can get all of this great free education. And again, I am just getting my nails ready here to go. Just gonna clip those down so we can sculpt. Let's see, oh my gosh, we've got people from everywhere. We got Italy and Greece and Belgium and you guys, oh my gosh, from Abu Dhabi. Biba, I know that you're Abu Dhabi now. I always want to say Dubai, but Abu Dhabi. So you guys, welcome from wherever you are joining us from. Thank you for being here. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to kind of shape up my nails here really quick. I'm going to do 2 nails for you guys today. So kind of a little added bonus. I think yesterday we went super wild and crazy with our Wicked themed nails. So today we're going to kind of tone it down just a little bit. But we're still going to have some glitter and we're still going to have some sparkle. So don't worry about that. So let me show you guys what we're going to be working with today. Today I am going to be using our extreme low odor powders and liquid. So usually I go with the traditional, but today I just want to show you guys that new soft white color that we have just launched for our sale. We've got the soft white, and maybe I'll show you the cover Stardust, or cover pink Stardust. I'll just swatch that one out. But today we're going to be doing a nail with the soft white, and I'm also going to be using, which one is this? Little Guy, which is one of our ultra fine glitters here today. So we're going to be using those, and I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll throw some. Yeah, you guys, I forgot. I had this one too that I wanted to use. So this one is Hope Scream City. This one is a gorgeous silver, but holographic kind of a glitter. This one is kind of those rectangular. Tracy likes to call them slithers. So you guys can see what those look like. So those are, it's just a little bit of a different shape. But again, you guys look at all of that hologram glow in there. Let's see, Jada's asking or says, I missed the Wicked nails. You guys, the Wicked nails from yesterday, those are reposted on our YouTube, I can't even say it today, YouTube channel. So you can definitely check out that video from yesterday as well. And then there was one other question. Let's see. Oh, Danae, did you clean up the glitter after you spilled yesterday? Yes, you guys, I did clean up my spilled glitter yesterday. But let's not talk about spilled glitter. Spilled glitter was over. So let's get into our nails here. We're going to start prepping just like we always do. We're going to push back those cuticles, get that good and cleaned up. And again, you guys, I'm always using my rose gold, our beautiful new, well, it's not new, but beautiful rose gold magic wand. And this is that cuticle pusher on one end. It's also got, let me come in a little closer here. It's also got that little scraping tool that you can use for kind of those tough cuticles right up around there as well. And then it's got that little pinching tool for pinching in your C-curve. So that's what our magic wand is. But let's get into our prep here. So we push back the cuticles. Now I've got my carbide bit. So this is our carbide. This is our safety bit coarse. Carbide bits are for use only over artificial enhancement, so only acrylic or hard gel and things like that. You do not want to use that on a natural nail. So what I'm going to use instead is a mandrel and a medium sanding band. Now I have an old sanding band on here. You guys always see me change out my sanding bands, but I'm just using the back end of my magic wand. I'm going to kind of put pressure down into that mandrel and then slide that sanding band right off and just toss that away in the trash. That is not reusable. It's a one-person use only. It's not sanitizable and disinfectable. The mandrel here that I'm using to put my sanding band on, that is sanitizable and disinfectable, so you do want to make sure that you are sanitizing and disinfecting that after every client as well. But throw that sanding band away, grab a clean, fresh one, and just slide that right down onto that mandrel. Now I think it was maybe in yesterday's or in a recent one of my demos here, somebody was asking about seasoning the edge of your sanding band. Now you guys, I don't know if you can even tell on camera here, but our sanding bands do come sort of pre-beveled, so they don't have a really sharp edge. So even if I turn this on, turn that down to my prep speed, even if I kind of tap that edge of my sanding band onto my skin, it's not going to cut because they are pre-beveled. But if you do feel like maybe it needs to be softened just a little bit more, maybe if it feels a little sharp, just take the edge of that sanding band, and I'll show you what I'm going to do here. Just tap 1, 2, 3 right on that edge, and that'll soften up that edge even more. So always make sure that you've got, got that nice softened edge, but ours do come pre-beveled, so don't worry too much about that. All right, let's go ahead and prep our nail. So we're going to come right up around our cuticle area. I'm doing kind of short little kind of circular motions. I'm not trying to come all the way around that cuticle in one motion. I'm just going to kind of do shorter little kind of circular motions right up around that cuticle. And that's going to prep just that cuticle area. Okay. Now you guys, I want you to notice how much space that bit is kind of covering. Okay. If you take a look when I'm prepping from the side, you're going to see that I do keep that bit flat on the nail. I'm not angling that bit up. I think a lot of times when people prep, they try to lift up that bit and come all the way around that cuticle area. What that's going to do is that's actually going to cut down into that natural nail. Let me show you guys on another nail here. So if you're using just that edge and you're coming around that cuticle area, I'm going to zoom in really close and see so you guys can see. So if you're using just the edge of that bit, this is what's going to happen. You're going to dig into that natural nail. You're going to cause a lot of damage, and it's actually called a ring of fire is what you're creating when you're using that edge, okay? What you want to make sure you're doing is angling that bit down so it's a little bit more flat on the nail. So really you're kind of focusing on the top, I would say the top third of the bit, okay? So that's the part that should be flat onto that nail, not angled up. So let me come back out here. So again, keeping that bit flat on the nail all the way around. Then, once we get to that top left corner, we're just going to kind of feather that bit. I'm not coming back and forth and keeping that bit on the nail. I'm not grinding away the surface like this. I'm just kind of doing a quick motion of across, pick up my bit, across, pick up my bit, across, pick up my bit. So that's going to help to keep any friction down. It's going to help to keep that nail from overheating, and it's also going to help to keep any damage from happening. Okay, by just doing those quick little short kind of feathering motions, what's going to happen is we're going to be able to remove that shine from the surface of the nail without causing any damage. Okay, and you guys, I'm going to go through and do our second nail here just so you can kind of see exactly how I do that all the way through. So really just a quick kind of a process. It really shouldn't take much longer than that. I think a lot of times what people do, they spend a lot of time trying to prep their nails. So they'll come around that cuticle area and then they feather through it and they remove all the shine and they think, well, I must have did it wrong because I must have done it wrong because it was so fast. And so then they go back through again and they prep again. And you guys, this is just a waste of time. You only need to go through one quick time, just enough to remove that shine. Now, if you do have any last little shiny spots, you can kind of tap into those areas. If you have a shiny spot on the side, use the top part of your bit on the left side to kind of pull down. If you have a shiny spot still left on your right side here, use the base of that bit and pull down. But it really shouldn't take long at all to do your prep, okay? For a full set, you guys, if you're doing a full set, both hands, it should take you 3 to 5 minutes to fully prep these nails. Any longer than that, and you're probably overthinking it, you're probably doing more work than what you should be doing, Okay, so 3 to 5 minutes on your prep. That's all you need to do. Now, we'll come back in with our manicure brush. And I'm just going to dust these nails off. So when I dust the nails off, I'm really just trying to get all of that extra dust off from the sides, from around that nail, even from underneath that nail. But as I dust this nail off, notice the direction that I'm brushing. I'm not brushing across the nail like this. If we were to brush across the nail, that really just pushes the dust over into those sidewalls. If we brush in the direction that the nail grows, so brushing downward, that's going to pull all of that dust right out of those little sidewalls. Okay, so make sure that you're really dusting those nails off well, and then we can come in with our swipe. So swipe is our cleanser. There, you guys can get a better view. It does come in a pump bottle, so I'm going to pump a little bit of that up onto my manicure brush. And then we're going to go through and we're going to use that to really scrub and really clean the nails. So this is going to help to kind of remove any excess oils that are on the surface of that nail. It's going to take any last little tiny bits of dust from the nail. It's also going to take care of any germs or bacteria that's on the nail. So now we're going to have a really nice, clean, dry surface ready to go for our application. Now, we want to make sure that we have a really good bond for our acrylic or our gel or whatever we're putting on. So we're going to do 2 coats of Protein Bond. Protein Bond is our bonder. It's not a primer. You guys can see it says non-acid adhesion, so it doesn't have the methacrylic acid that most primers do. It works more like a double-sided tape, so it's going to stick down to that natural nail, but then it's going to leave a sticky surface for our acrylic or gel or whatever you're using to adhere to. And I'm going to do 2 coats on these nails. Now, I want you guys to take a look and see. See the difference between the nail that I've got Protein Bond on versus the nail that I don't have Protein Bond on. When you have Protein Bond on the nail, it's not going to dry back to this chalky look anymore. It's going to stay sticky looking. So you want to make sure before you put any acrylic or gel or anything on these nails that it has that sticky look, not that chalky dry look. If you forgot to put your Protein Bond on, this is a good reminder that if it looks chalky, there's no Protein Bond on. Okay, so kind of get into that habit of recognizing that you've got that Protein Bond on or not. All right, so on our second nail here, guys, kind of watch as I brush this on. I don't just start right at the cuticle and brush forward. I start in the center, I work out to the sides, and then I work back up to that cuticle area. The reason for that is so that I don't flood this product onto the skin or into that cuticle area or anything like that. So again, starting in the center, working out to the sides, back to the cuticle, so I don't flood the cuticle, don't have to worry about any irritation or any contact dermatitis or anything like that because it's not actually touching skin. So always make sure that you're keeping your products safe, that you're using them safely and not touching any skin or soft tissue. Okay. All right, let's get, actually before I do our form, I'm going to grab my colors that I'm going to use today. And we'll grab our, so we're using the Extreme Low Odor powder. So I want to make sure that I'm using the Extreme Low Odor liquid. So you guys, I always like to point this out. Make sure that whatever product you're using, whether it's the Extreme Low Odor or our traditional liquid, that you don't try to mix and match, okay? Anything that has that pink label has to be used with the pink label. So let me grab, all right, let me grab one of our other powders. So you guys, make sure that if you have a powder that has a pink label, that you're using the liquid that has the pink label, okay? If you have a powder that has the teal label, you're using the liquid that has the teal label. These are not interchangeable. You cannot use the teal label liquid with the pink label powder, okay? They are completely different chemistries and they do not combine well together. And we've had a lot of people saying, well, I tried it and the pearl turns out okay. Yes, you will still be able to pick up a pearl of it, but in the long run, this is not gonna work with this and have a good structure to it, okay? Again, the chemistries are not the same, so make sure that you're not mixing and matching. All right, so let me grab my Dappen dish. I've got a little bit of liquid in there. I am going to soak that up with a couple of my table towels here. I always want to make sure that I'm starting with good, clean, fresh liquid so that I can get really good, perfect pearls every time. So I'm just going to soak that up. And you guys, I'm using my magic wand to lift that out. I don't want to use my fingers to touch that liquid or anything like that. So again, keeping product off of our skin is very important. Okay, especially if you are wanting to be doing nails for an extended period of time. It's important to keep yourself safe, keep your clients safe, and the less we touch product, the less we keep that, or the more we keep that off of our skin, the better we're going to be. So always make sure, keep your product away from your skin. Now let's take our brush, and you guys, I always like to show this. So I have on, this is my, this is Greg's Signature Series brush that I'm using. It's a size 12, but I've just put a little bit of top coat and a little bit of teal glitter on the top of my brush so that I know that this is my brush that I use with my extreme low odor monomer. So just my little trick. I think it's good to have a separate brush that you use with the extreme low odor and one that you use with the traditional so that you're not cross-contaminating anything. So just a helpful hint. If you have an extra brush or a second brush, or you guys, everything is on sale right now, so it's a good time to get an extra brush. But it's definitely a good idea to have a separate brush for your extreme low odor and one for your traditional. Okay, so what I just did here, I just touched my brush to the top of the bottle. That way it's going to pour my liquid straight down into my Dappen dish, and it's not going to spill any around the edge. Somebody's saying I need mini table towels. You guys, the table towels here, these little ones that I've got, all it is, let me grab one here. It's just our regular table towels that I've cut into smaller pieces. So if you joined me early, right here at the beginning of our live stream, I was cutting these up into smaller pieces. So that's all that this is. It's the same table towels that I've got on my station here. So just easier to use for me. I like to use those little pieces rather than the full table towels. Now you guys, I promised you that I would swatch out the Cover Pink Stardust for you, and I will do that. So you guys, the colors that we've got here are Cover Pink Stardust and Soft White. These are our two brand new colors from the Extreme Low Odor collection, and these are in a bundle deal with the Extreme Low Odor liquid. So those are in a bundle deal for our Black Friday sale as well. So let me just give you a quick little swatch of I have a hard time remembering, the Cover Pink Stardust. So the Cover Pink Stardust is a soft pink. It's an opaque pink, but it's got a little hint of a shimmer to it. So if we pick that up, I'll just swatch this out so you guys can see what that color really looks like. It's a beautiful, soft, kind of a pinky peachy kind of a color. So really, really pretty with that one. I'm not actually going to use that one today, but I did want to show you guys what that looks like. But the color that I am going to use today is our soft white. So this is, just like it says, a soft white. It's not that really, really bright white. And you guys, it's going to be hard to tell on the table towel, so I'm just going to hold that right here. So this is just kind of a soft white. It's almost, you guys, if you know what marshmallow fluff is, to me, that's what it looks like. So it's kind of marshmallowy, very, very soft white. It's going to be great for ombres. It's going to be great for those softer pink and white looks. But today what we're going to do is we're going to mix some glitter in with it. Because you guys, the holidays are coming up. Everybody likes sparkle. We're going to do kind of a wintry kind of a look today. So we're going to mix in some of that glitter. And again, this one was Little Guy. That's the glitter that we're using. Now when I mix my glitter and acrylic together, I just have my little Dappen dish here. A good ratio is 3 to 1. So 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm probably not going to use all of this today, but that's okay. Just so you guys can see though, 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter. So that was 3 scoops of the acrylic. Now I can put in 1 scoop of my glitter. If you add too much glitter, your ratio can kind of be a little bit off, and you may feel like your acrylic is kind of crumbly, or it's not that really smooth, pearl that you can normally pick up. So just make sure that you're not putting in too much of that glitter. Now we may cap this, we may not. We'll see what kind of a look we're going for. Again, I'm going to be doing 2 nails, so on the first nail, I probably won't cap this with clear. With that glitter in there, as fine of glitter as that is, it doesn't need to be capped with clear. So we can actually build this whole nail with just this acrylic powder, and we don't have to cap it. Now with our second nail that I'm going to show you, that one we will cap, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. So let me close up my soft white. I'm going to set that one off to the side. So we're just going to be using that mix that we came up with here. Let me grab our hand back. Okay, so we are ready to apply. We've already prepped this nail. It's good to go. I'm going to grab one of our forms, and I've got our blue forms today. You guys, I know we went a little wild and crazy yesterday, and we did an extra long nail with our red forms. Today we're going to go back to kind of toning it down just a little bit. And we're going to use our blue forms. Either way, I'm going to put that little tab from the center. I'm going to put that on the back of my form. And then I'm going to pinch the tabs together. So these 2 little silver areas here, I'm going to kind of fold my form over, and we're just going to pinch those 2 little tabs together nice and even. We're going to do kind of a shorter almond nail today. So I'm going to pinch my form together at the end and just give it a little bit more of a pinch down the length of that form to kind of shorten up that form a little bit. Okay. We're going to open up that top perforation, and then we will get our form underneath the nail. Now you guys, before I do that, if you're learning anything, if you're thinking this is interesting, if you're enjoying our live stream, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way we can keep giving you guys all this great free education. So hit that subscribe button, and then I'll get my form onto the nail. So as I'm putting my form on, I don't just try to shove that form right up underneath that nail. What I do is I will actually come at kind of an angle. So let me turn this on the side so you guys can see. And you know what? Bear with me, you guys. I'm going to clean off my lens here really quick. It's not just your view there. Just want to make sure you guys get a good view here of what's happening. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm not coming straight in and just shoving that right under there. I'm going to start at a slight downward angle. I'm going to bring that form right up to kind of catch that lower part of that natural nail, and then I'm going to lift up. Let me readjust here so again you guys can see really well what's happening. So again, starting at kind of that downward angle, I'm going to catch that form right up underneath that nail and just rock that up until it just comes nice and straight out from that free edge. And then we'll secure that down on the sides. Now I'm going to take a look at this straight on. It's just a little bit off-centered and just at still a slight downward angle. So I just want to make sure that I clean that up. Make sure everything is coming nice and straight out from that free edge. And looks like that's nice and lined up with our nail. All right, so let's go ahead and start building our extension here. And again, we're going to use that soft white and glitter mixture that we created. Now, when we're working on our free edge, I want to make sure that I'm getting my product to more of kind of a clay-like consistency. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if I were to just come in here, press out the back of my brush, press down into my powder, and if I were to just go right onto my form, do you guys see what happens as I set that down? Instantly that product starts to run and flow, okay? When we're creating that free edge, when we're building out that extension, we don't want our product to move like that. What we want is more of a clay-like consistency. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just putting that right down onto my form, I'm going to drain that liquid out, okay? Now you guys, I'm going to come in really close. I want you to maybe see this. I'm hoping you're going to be able to see this on camera. But when I press that pearl down, I want you to kind of watch the brush. You're going to see the brush go from kind of a wet look, and then it's going to go to more of a kind of a dried out look, okay? So see how wet that brush looks? When I set that down, do you see how now it has really pulled out that extra liquid from that brush? That's exactly what we want to happen. We want to pull that extra liquid out so that, again, we're bringing that pearl more to kind of a clay-like form. So again, take that brush, nice and wet, drain out that liquid, and then what that's going to do is that's going to kind of solidify. Oops, let me come back out here, you guys. And I'm going to grab another pearl here real quick. But what that's going to do is that's going to bring that product back to more of a clay-like consistency where we're still going to be able to move the product. Again, we're going to drain that out. We're going to be able to move that product, but it's not going to run and flow on us, okay? It's going to soften a little bit. You see it kind of soften, but it's not draining down. It's not dripping down the form like this first one was. This one, we've got a little bit more consistency to it. We've got a little bit more kind of firmness almost. So we can move that product around. We can press that around without it running and flowing, which is exactly what we want to happen on the free edge. So let me grab a new table towel. You guys, this is another reason that I like to cut those little table towels into smaller pieces so that I can just use maybe one at a time, and then I can toss that away and use a clean one. Let's see, somebody's asking, did I do my own current nail design on live? You guys, I didn't do my actual nails on live, but I did this same design on, I think it was probably close to 3 weeks ago now, because I definitely need a fill at this point. But yes, this video, there is a video showing this design on our channel. So you guys check out our channel. We've got so many great videos, so much great education for you here. Make sure you subscribe to our channel too, so that you can get all of this great education. So let's go ahead and build our free edge. So just like I was showing you guys, let me come out here so you can see exactly what I'm doing. There we go. So I'm going to press down into my liquid. I'm going to press out the back of my brush. We're going to press, bounce, bounce. I'm going to drain out that extra liquid onto my table towel, and I'm going to set that right down in front of my nail. Let me come in a little closer here. I'm going to wipe out my brush. I'm going to use kind of that fat part of the brush and press that out from side to side. Then I'm going to use the edge of my brush to tuck that product in. Bring up that kind of bulkiness up to the corner of the nail, and then I'm going to walk all of that bulk all the way across to the other side. Use the edge of my brush, tuck that in on the side, press that bulk all the way across. So this is how I'm going to get a nice even application all the way across, just kind of walking back and forth. Walk that bulk up into that corner. And now I'm just going to start to kind of blend that product forward, and we're going to create a little bit more of that almond shape. So kind of coming in with my brush a little bit more at an angle. So almost from the corner here to the point of the form, to just bring in that more almond shape. You guys, if it's not a perfect almond shape, don't worry. It's looking a little bit more coffin-esque, but that's okay. We can always round it out, or we can also file that into more of a almond shape. But we've got it coming into shape now. So again, just kind of using the edge of my brush to tuck in on those sides, and then more of the fat part of the brush to press out from side to side. So using different areas of your brush is going to give you different amounts of pressure. And if I were to try to use, say, the edge of my brush, now you guys take a quick look here. You see, let me clean out my brush real quick. But do you see in my brush how there's a little bit of a crimp right through that ferrule? What happens is that this brush, if we take a look at it from the side, it's not rounded. It's actually pinched right through here. That's what's going to make our brush more oval shaped instead of a rounded shaped brush. And again, what that does is it allows us to have kind of that edge of the brush to get really nice straight sidewalls, but then we've also got kind of this fatter part of the brush to be able to press and maneuver that product where we need to move it to, okay? If you had a brush, or if you used your brush with this edge to press down on that product, it's not going to get that nice smooth application. That's why we want that flat kind of a part to press out that product, okay? So again, we're going to keep our product in more of that clay form when we're building our extension. When we get to working over this area here, so in our cuticle area, forward, we're basically going to just overlay this now. But what we want to make sure is now we actually do want our product to flow a little bit down the length of the nail. So on our free edge, we drained out that liquid and brought it to clay form. When we're working at that cuticle area, we don't want to drain out that liquid, okay? So when we put our pearl down at our cuticle area, come back out here, I'm going to pick up my pearl, I'm going to press, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one I'm not going to drain out, but I'm not going to just attack it right away. I'm not going to drop that pearl down right away. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to count to maybe 3 or 4, okay? And you guys, I'm going to come in really close because I want you to see exactly what's going to happen with the pearl. All right, I just want to make sure I know where I'm going here. So when we pick up this pearl, I want you guys to look at the texture of this pearl. It's going to go from kind of a textured look, kind of like an orange peel, to that smooth look. All right, you guys, did you see that happen? I want to show you that one more time so that you can really see. So let me come in just a little bit closer here. Okay, so that's where I'm going to be. I want to make sure, oops, I got a little bit of monomer on me. I want to wipe that off right away. But again, we're going to pick up that pearl, and you're going to see it's going to go from kind of that orange peel texture to more of that smooth pearl look. And once it gets to that smooth pearl look, that's when we're going to set that down onto the nail. So again, it's about a count of 3, maybe 4. So, oops, we got a little bit of a chunk down in there. All right, so again, we're going to pick up our pearl, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to wait 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like a pearl. I'm going to set that down at my cuticle area, and I'm going to angle that finger downward while I press out my cuticle. By angling that finger downward, it's going to help to allow that product to flow a little bit more down the length of the nail rather than down into my sidewalls. So it's going to keep my control, and then I'll lift up, and I'm just going to kind of lightly blend out just the edge of that pearl. I'm not trying to pull product all the way from the back. I'm going to pivot my brush on the side, and that's how I'm going to smooth out those sides. Same thing over here, pivot my brush on the side and blend out that side. So again, I'm only pulling from right here at that front edge of the pearl. I'm not pulling from all the way back at that cuticle area. If I were to pull from all the way in the back, I would end up flattening out this area. Now this is our arch, this is our apex. We want to make sure that we're leaving some thickness here so that we have structure to this nail, okay? We also want to make sure that we're keeping our brush at a 45-degree angle to that cuticle area when we place our pearl on. So this way it's going to keep it nice and thin and tapered at that cuticle area. If you just had your brush and you were setting your pearl down like this, you would end up with a lot more thickness right at that cuticle. So keeping your brush at that 45-degree angle is going to help. Now, here's the trick. I am angling that finger downward as I'm working. So you're going to keep your brush at this angle. Okay, you're not going to be working from up here. You're going to be looking at this. Okay, all right, hopefully that makes sense. Let's go on to our next pearl because obviously that doesn't complete our structure. So we do need to fill in this extension here. And we're going to do kind of a cross. So now at this point, we've done a pearl that is in clay-like form. We've done a pearl back here that is more in a wet form. Now for this pearl, I'm going to do kind of right in between. So on this one, I'm going to pick up my pearl, and I'm not going to drain out all the liquid. I'm just going to give it a quick tap. So maybe just 1 second. So just tap, and then we're going to go on to the nail. Okay, what that's going to do is it's going to keep it from flowing a lot, but it's still going to have some movement. Okay, looks like there's a lot of questions in the chat about the apex and the arch. And you guys, this is really how you're going to get that proper apex, is your brush position and the nail position. So again, when you're working in that cuticle area, keeping that nail at a slight downward angle and keeping your brush at about a 45-degree angle to that cuticle area, that's how you're going to get that really flush, thin cuticle. And it's going to come in. So if I hold this to the side so you can see, do you see the angle that I'm working at? It's keeping it nice and thin at that cuticle area, but right here, it's going to stay nice and thick because of that brush angle. If I were to come in and press out my product here, that's going to flatten out that stress area. So make sure that the angle of your brush is again at about that 45-degree angle to just press out the cuticle and leave the bulk right in your stress area here, okay? If that made sense to you guys, if that helped, make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, next pearl we're going to do again is kind of in between. So again, we're going to pick up our pearl. Oops, there was a little chunk on there. I don't know where that little bump came from, but we don't need that. So one more, we're going to pick up our pearl. I'm going to just drain a little bit of that liquid out. I'm going to turn my brush around, and I'm going to drop that down and blend that back. this is also going to help to create that arch by blending back up into that arch. And then I'll turn my brush around, and now I can use more of the belly of the brush to press and bring that product forward down the length of the nail. And again, I'm kind of pivoting my brush as I press so that it's really starting to contour and give my nail a little bit more of a rounded surface. I can blend backwards if I need to pull a little bit more product up into that cuticle, or I can pull forward if I need a little bit more product at the end. So you guys always keep in mind your brush angles. So wherever you need product, that's where you're going to be blending. So when I put my pearl down, I set it down and I blended back up into that stress area. Again, that's going to keep my stress area nice and high. Also notice the angle that I'm keeping my brush. I'm keeping it at kind of that upward angle. So it's kind of pulling up to that arch. When I come back down to my free edge, I tend to angle kind of downward, so coming down like this. So again, that's going to thin out and taper out that free edge, okay? So you guys always watch your brush angles and your angle to the nail. So as you're working, keep that arch in mind. Your brush is going to be here, it's going to be here, and it's going to be here. All the way through those areas is how you're creating that shape, okay? I hope that makes sense. So at this point, we just need to let this nail set. I know it doesn't look perfect. I know there looks like a little bit of a dip right in through here. That's okay, because we're going to take this area down just a little bit, and that's going to flow right into that extension, okay? So not a big deal at all. Let's go on to our next nail. So our next nail, we're still going to use a little bit of that soft white and glitter mixture that we created, but let's add a little more sparkle to this nail. Shall we? What do you guys think? Should we add more sparkle? Let me know in the chat if you want me to add more sparkle. I mean, I'm gonna anyways, but I want you to guys have some input here. Let me know if you want some more sparkle. So what I'm gonna use is, we're gonna go back to our clear, okay? Now, before we were using that soft white, when I'm working with other glitters, I like to use the clear. We got some Mylar, everybody wants some, okay, you guys, looks like you want some sparkle. So that is perfect. Now I'm going to find, oops, where did I lose it? So for this one, we're going to still stick to that 3-to-1 mixture. We're going to do 1, 2, 3 parts of our clear. And then we're going to do another 1 part of our glitter. Now this one that we're using is called Hope Scream City. And again, this is more of those kind of slithers. And so we're going to add 1 scoop of this. So 3 scoops of acrylic, 1 scoop of that glitter. Now, because this one is mixed in clear, it's going to be more of a translucent color. We're going to be able to see that the glitter, there's not going to be any other color in our acrylic. So all we're going to see is that glitter. And you guys, I know everybody always comments on this little scoop. I think this may have been in one of our glitter collections a while back, but I'm sure you can find some of these things online on other websites. All right, so let's see what this is gonna look like. I always kind of do like a little test run with my mixes so I can see and I can make sure that they're exactly what I want. Or if I feel like I need more glitter or anything like that. You know what, you guys, I think I want a little bit more texture to this. So I'm gonna come in, let me look at my shelf here, hang on. I'm gonna find Hologram. So you guys, Hologram is the same, let me show you this really quick. So it's the same silver and the same sparkle, it's just a different cut. So this is just a finer glitter. So let's add a little bit of this. Now, I know I said the ratio is 3-to-1, so 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter. I'm going to add just a little bit more glitter, and then I may add a little bit more of that clear acrylic, just kind of depending on how this feels. And sometimes I'll add a little bit more acrylic. I think this one's still looking like it's a pretty good consistency. But let's take a quick sample. And always take a quick sample so that, again, you can feel exactly what that pearl is going to do and how it's going to move. On this, it is kind of moving just like I want it to. It's not feeling chunky or anything like that. So I don't think I need to add any more acrylic. But just look at that subtle difference. So in The first pearl, all we had were those slithers in there. In the second one, we have the slithers, and then we have a little bit of that finer glitter kind of running in between there. So it's going to give me a little bit more of a solid look with this one. Biba says Disco Rodeo vibes. Yes, you guys, Disco Rodeo was a super, super fun glitter mixture. It's actually pretty close to this one. So those of you that loved the Disco Rodeo, this one is a really close second. And again, this was Hologram. And you guys, this is our old packaging. Glitters last forever, so I have some of our old glitters in the smaller packaging, so that's why it's in the smaller. But our glitters now come in the larger size. So again, we had Hologram and Hope Scream City. So those, if you're looking for that mixture, that's what we got. All right, let's get back to our nail here. On this one, we need another form. So let me grab another form here, just like we did before. I'm going to peel that off the backing. I'm going to take that little tab out of the center, stick that on the back, pinch those two little tabs together. Let me come in closer. Pinch our two tabs together nice and evenly. Pinch the end a little bit more, open up that top perforation. And again, we're going to pinch this one just a little bit shorter, so it's going to be about the same as the first one. Gypsy Z, any tips for new learners? I have a lot of tips. Everything that I'm showing you guys here are tips to help you doing better nails. So stick with us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We've got over 3,000 videos of free education for you guys here on our channel. So make sure to check those out as well. And you guys, what I'm doing, sorry, I'm trying to look at the comments and get this form on. I should do focus on one thing at a time. So I am going to, all right, let me turn this on the side because I want you guys to really see this again. So again, I'm going to start at a slight downward angle here. I'm going to catch that form right up underneath that free edge and then just lift up on that form until that form comes nice and straight out from the free edge. Somebody says, you make it look so easy. You guys, I have a lot of years of practice doing nails. The more you practice, the easier it gets. But it's important to learn good techniques. So one quick little hint right here, you guys, if you take a look at that form, it looks just slightly off. And how I can tell is, I'm going to come back out just a little bit here. When you're putting forms on, make sure that you're lining that form straight in line with the finger, not just the nail. So when you're putting a form on, don't just look from here to here. Look all the way from the knuckle to the knuckle to the knuckle, all the way through the nail. And it should line up straight all the way through the knuckles. Let me come in a little closer here. Okay. So right now, if you take a look, that bold line right down the center, first of all, it's pretty off-centered from that finger or from that nail. But if I hold my orange wood stick straight in line, do you see? Actually, I need to adjust my camera so that you guys can see straight on. Okay. So if we look at this form, it is lopsided. Okay, it's coming off to the right here a little bit. So I want to make sure to adjust that so that that form and that bold line down the center are coming straight in line with that finger. Again, not just with the nail, but with the whole finger. So now I kind of move that straight. Let me come, whoops, wrong way. There we go. So now you guys can really see that form is completely straight in line with that finger, straight down in line with the extension. Okay, so that's another really good tip, especially for beginners, so that you always know that your form is lined up straight. Okay, all right, let's get into our sparkle application. Now, anytime I'm going to put any glitter or anything on that natural nail, a lot of times what I like to do is I'm going to come back to my clear and I'm going to take just a tiny little pearl of that clear. And we're just going to lay that right onto that nail. So just right up by my cuticle area. This one I kept fairly wet. I didn't drain out any of that liquid. But all I'm doing is just kind of feathering that little bit of clear acrylic over that natural nail. So when I do put any glitters on, it's not going to go right down to that natural nail. And this is important when you're changing out your designs, so that when you file off any glitter, you're only going to be filing down to that natural nail, so that you're not ever going to be damaging that natural nail. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a glitter free edge. Now you guys, you could build out your free edge in clear and then apply your glitter on top of that. It's a personal preference. On this nail, I'm just going to go right in with my glitter. So we're going to pick up our pearl. I'm going to drain out just a little bit of that liquid. I'm going to set that right down at that free edge. So just like we were doing with our first nail, we're going to bring that right up to the free edge, using the body of my brush to press it nice and even, using the edge of my brush to tuck it up to the sides, and then start to just kind of pull that down, bringing that all the way down the length of the nail that we want to create. Now I may pick up just a little bit more. I think I want a little bit more length to this nail. So I'm going to pick up just another small pearl, drain out a little bit of that liquid. I'm going to turn my brush around again, set that right at the free edge, press that down. Oops. Oh, I lost my pearl on the table towel. That's what happened. All right, let's try that one again. And you guys, actually, I'm going to grab a new clean towel to wipe my brush on. All right, try that again. Pick up our pearl, drain out that extra liquid. I'm going to turn my brush around, set that pearl down, and just kind of blend that back, tapering out that free edge, blending a little bit more of that glitter back onto that nail. And again, you can use the edge of your brush, tuck in those sides, creating more of that almond shape. Now, at the beginning of our demo, somebody said, are we doing an ombre? And I said, no, but we are doing an ombre. We're just not using pink and white. We're going to do an ombre with our glitter and with our soft white. So I'm going to pick up another small pearl, and I'm going to set that right onto that natural nail. I'm going to press that out from side to side, and then kind of blend that out a little bit. I'm going to turn my brush around and just kind of feather back that little bit of glitter. So I don't have just a stark line of glitter. I just want that to kind of ombre out a little bit. Kind of press that down into our nail. Now at this point, you guys, you have options. If you like it is, you could just cap the whole thing in clear and you could have that really pretty ombre look that way. But I'm going to go back to that first color mix that we had. So you guys, this is going to kind of show you how you can create full sets with different kind of different options and different art ideas. But this color combination is going to be really good for a full set of this. So we're going to take a little bit of that white mixture that we created earlier. We're going to pick up that pearl, count 1, 2, 3. We're going to set that right down at the cuticle area. I'm going to press out that cuticle area. And again, you guys, now you see how that product is starting to flow. Again, make sure that I'm angling that finger downward, just kind of helping that flow where I want it to. Once it stops, I'm just going to lift up a little bit and just feather out that free edge. So it's just kind of blending in that white right into our silver, just very gently, okay? So again, you guys, this is going to be a really pretty kind of an icy look. Really fun for the winter, holidays that are coming up, but that glitter underneath just really kind of blended in with our white glitter that we've got here, okay? Now, just like we did on our first nail, we built up our stress area right through here. We've got a low spot right here, and we've also got glitter right here that we need to cap. So we need to seal in where our product blends together so that we wouldn't file out that blend, and we need to cap all of that glitter so that we don't file off the glitter. So we're going to go back to our clear. We're going to pick up a pearl of that, and just like we did on that first nail, I'm going to drain out just a little bit of that liquid. Oops, sorry guys, hang on a second. There we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to pick up a pearl. I'm going to drain out just a little bit of that liquid, turn my brush around, set it right where those colors ombre together, and blend back up into that nail. Angle the finger downward, let it kind of run, let it flow a little bit, and then I can use my brush and use kind of the belly of the brush to kind of guide that into place. Blending that down towards the free edge, making sure all of that glitter is capped. Oops, sorry guys. I suppose you want to see what I'm doing, huh? Come all the way through, blending out all the way through that glitter. Still using the edge of my brush to kind of tuck in on those sides. Use the fat part of my brush to press out. If I need to, I can again blend backwards to bring a little bit more of that product up to the arch, up to that apex, or blend forward to really thin out and taper that free edge. So just like on our first nail, we built in that structure. We've got a nice thin cuticle area. We're going to take down that apex just a little bit, but now it's going to flow all the way down towards that free edge. Okay. All right. I'm assuming our first one is set. That definitely, I'm hearing, you guys hear kind of that clicking sound? So if you can tap your brush handle onto that nail and hear that sharp clicking sound, that means that your product is set. If we tap on this nail, it's really not set. You can't hear any clicking sound to that. So that's kind of a good indicator that your product is set. Now, when you're working with the Extreme Low Odor product, this does have a tacky surface. So I'm going to close up my products here really quick, but we are going to file these nails and that tacky surface is going to file off. Now, I have a lot of people always asking me questions about that tacky surface, and it is normal, okay, you guys, it is normal to have a little bit of residue when you are working with the Extreme Low Odor, but as long as you can tap that nail and hear that, that sharp clicking, you know that it's set, okay? Guys, I keep looking at this and I keep thinking I bumped my form, but I think it's going to be okay. So I just need to be careful with that. But I am going to take my form off of this nail here. And I don't know what that little piece of extra rogue glitter on there is, but that's okay. All right, I am going to grab my dust collector. I'm going to get this right up underneath here. And I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to grab my electric file, and we're going to switch out. So we were using that sanding band earlier to prep that natural nail. Now we need to switch back to our carbide bit to take down bulk from our acrylic. And I'm going to be using our X-Cut carbide. You guys, let me dust this off for you really quick so you can see a little better. So this one is designed to take down bulk from acrylic. Okay. You can also use the safety bit coarse if that works a little bit easier for you, if you feel more comfortable with that rounded top like that. But these are the same grit, so either one, whatever makes you feel better. Okay. I'm going to turn my speed on my e-file to about 15,000 RPMs. When I'm working with acrylic, I usually like to work at about 15,000. And we're going to just start by cleaning up our perimeter. So what I mean by perimeter is our sides and our free edge. So on my left side, I'm just pulling that bit down. On my right side, I'm pushing back. Okay, now if you're a lefty, you're going to do the opposite. Lefties, you're going to pull down on the right side and push back on the left. Okay, you're also going to have your e-file in reverse. So if you're left-handed, you're doing the opposite of what I'm doing. Okay, so just kind of straightening out those sidewalls. And if you need to, you can round out that free edge a little bit more. I'm just kind of, again, pulling down on the left side, kind of making a U-turn around and push back on the right. So down, around, and up, okay? Now, again, you guys, don't apply a lot of pressure. So as you're filing, you don't need to really grind into it. Just make contact, and the bit's going to do the rest, okay? Let's see. We're going to look from the side view. So at this point, you can see, I'm going to grab my orange wood stick again. I want to make sure that my product is coming straight out from that natural nail. So anything that's covered by my orange wood stick right now, I need to file off. So I'm going to move this away. So all of that product that was underneath there needs to file off. So that nail, again, is straight along this line here, okay? So to take that down, I'm just going to come right along the edge here, right underneath, pushing back, pushing back, pushing back. And now that's coming a little bit more straight out. I am going to go through with my hand file to perfect all of this, so don't worry about trying to get all the way up into the corner here. You don't need to. But this side, you can definitely see there's way more coming down on this side. So again, if I hold my orange wood stick straight out from that natural nail, everything that's covered with my orange wood stick is gonna have to go, okay? So all of that product that's hanging off is just gonna have to get filed off. So again, here on this side, we're gonna pull down, pull down, pull down. Again, I'm leaving that little bit because I don't wanna try to get too close up into that skin and cause any damage to her skin, but just enough to get right up in there, okay? All right. So now at this point, we've got our perimeter cleaned up. So again, the sidewalls, that free edge, that lower arch, all good to go. Now we're gonna come through, we're gonna perfect that arch. So like we were talking about before, we're gonna come through, taper in that cuticle. And you guys, you're kind of seeing some of that sticky residue that's on the top. That's perfectly normal, it's perfectly okay. It's just going to file off. So I'm working right down the center of the nail. I'm not trying to come all the way from side to side. I'm just working down the arch of the nail. And what this is going to do, this is going to create the proper structure and the proper shape for our nail. Now, if we turn this on this view, and let's see, how can I readjust this here? All right. So now you guys can see I've filed right down the arch here. For some reason, the camera doesn't like that to focus on that white. So I will do my best to get this into a good camera view. But you guys can see all I'm doing is taking down the bulk from the sides. Okay, just taking down the bulk from the sides all the way through. And then I will take one more look right down the barrel of the, or right down the side of the nail, so I can really make sure everything is in the proper shape. Okay? We're gonna do the same exact thing with our second nail. Clean everything up just like we did on the first one. Same thing, starting with our sides. So pull down on the left side, push back on the right side, pull down on the left, make that little U-turn, back up the right, down, around, and back. Okay? Same thing, we're gonna clean up our lower arch on the side here. On the left, we're gonna pull down, clean up that lower arch, making sure everything is straight out. And you guys, we always come back through with our hand file to perfect everything at the end. So this is just getting the majority of the bulk taken down. So I'm just taking down any extra product that I don't need. Let me readjust here. So taking down extra product that we don't need so that we can have the proper structure, and then we will finish filing to make sure everything is nice and smooth. Okay, back there. All right, same thing here. I'm just gonna pull down the sides to take down that bulk, making sure everything is nice and contoured all the way through this nail. So I'm coming from kind of the left up and over all the way down to the right side. Okay, we're gonna turn that nail on the side. I'm gonna do, again, one more kind of check through, make sure everything is looking in the proper position. And I think we're about good there. Okay. I'm going to switch over back to my sanding band. So that first bit that we were using to prep the nail, I'm going to use this one to just refine everything a little bit more. This bit I'm going to turn down to about 7,000 RPMs. And just like we did before, I'm going to go through all of those same exact steps just to make sure everything is completely as smooth as I can get it without hand filing. Okay, I'm still going to do some hand filing, but this is just going to help refine everything so I have less filing to do by hand. Guys, I always say that the more I can file with the electric file, the easier everything is going to be. I'm just going to take down that little free edge just a little bit, and then just kind of flowing through that extension. Okay, same thing on our second nail. Up around my cuticle area, getting everything nice and thin, nice and tapered, so that I don't have as much to do with my hand file. Flowing all the way through that arch, making sure I still have the proper thickness in my arch area, but then nice and thin and tapered at my free edge, nice and thin and tapered right at my cuticle area, all the way through. And again, you guys, if you're learning anything today, if you're enjoying our live stream, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join us for all of this great education. Be a part of our community and get free education, you guys. Who doesn't want that? All right, so we are going to do our finished filing. We're still going to start with our sidewalls, kind of that perimeter that we started with on the E-file. I'm just kind of straightening everything out. Now, when I'm filing my sidewalls, I want you guys to look at my file position. Again, this is what I'm seeing. You guys are seeing exactly what I'm seeing. So when I file my sidewalls, I don't want to be angling my file in like this. All I really should be seeing of my file is that blue line down the center of the file. So this is going to show me that my nail is nice and straight. I'm also kind of using my fingers to balance. So see how I position my thumb on the left side, I position my ring finger on the right side. This is going to help me to kind of keep that nail balanced so it's not wobbling back and forth as I file. And this is going to really help you get those nice straight sidewalls. Okay, so again, we're coming around there. I'm not going to worry too much about that point on the end just yet. We're going to fix that up in a second here, but we're going to turn that nail on the side. Now I'm going to get any last little bits of that lower arch that weren't quite straight out. I'm going to make sure that those get filed nice and straight out. Same thing on the other side. Coming straight out with that lower arch. Really perfecting that lower arch. Okay. We're going to come up around our cuticle area. Taper in that cuticle area so that cuticle stays nice and thin and that there's no ledge or anything for the client to catch on or anything that they're going to pick at. So I'm just kind of contouring and coming up around those sides, up and around. On the right side, kind of down and around, but again, contouring and rounding out those edges. Okay, I'm going to turn that nail on the side. I'm going to put pressure with my file right at that free edge, and I'm going to file backwards. This way it's going to again taper in that free edge, get that nice and thin so that she can still use her nails, but it is going to leave a little bit more of that arch and that apex. I'm just going to check once more from down the barrel, kind of making sure that my lower arches are the same on both sides. And I think we're good there. We're going to switch to our second nail. Do the same exact thing. Straighten out our sides, straighten out our left side, using those fingers to balance. Clean up that free edge. Turn the finger on the side, look from the side view. Straighten out that lower arch. Same thing on the other side, straighten that lower arch. And you guys, I want you to notice, so when I'm filing my lower arches here, I'm coming a little bit, I actually put pressure with my file more towards the free edge rather than back into this area. I know it's actually really common for people to want to start with their file at this angle, but if you put more pressure towards that free edge, you're going to file up and it's going to start to bring this little corner up to where it should be. If you start in like this, it's going to cut a notch right into that corner and you're not going to get that perfect straight sidewall or that straight lower arch. So again, making sure that we're just coming straight up in there. Okay, so now you can see, let me dust that off. Now you can see that that nail, that extension is coming nice and straight out from that natural nail. Okay. Summer says, this is what they don't teach in beauty school. You guys, unfortunately, there's a lot that doesn't get taught in beauty schools, and that's exactly why we are here, to give you guys the education that you need to do nails and to be successful. So again, hit that subscribe button. Join us here for all of these live streams. We have over 3,000 other videos in our collection here on our YouTube channel for you guys to watch. Pretty much if you have any kind of a question pertaining to nails, most likely we have a video. If we don't have a video, text us, DM us, check in with us, and we can get you information. But definitely hit that subscribe button so that you can get all of this great information. All right, you guys, take a look at this. I want you to see something. So as I was filing this nail from this straight on view here, from my view, it was looking nice and straight. Now, when I turn this client's hand around and I look, she's going to look at her hands like this. When I look at this nail from her view, I don't know if you guys can see that on camera or not, but you will see how it's kind of curved off to the right side. Okay, this is the exact reason that I turn that client's hand around so that I can see from her view. I want to make sure that this nail is nice and straight from her view. So by looking at it from this direction, I can straighten that out and I can make that nice and straight from her view. Okay, so you guys, again, little details that, yeah, maybe they don't teach you in beauty school, but little details like this, just checking that client's nail from her view is going to really alter your perspective of the nail, and it's going to alter how you file, so that every time you file, if you check from this direction, you're going to be able to see any little high spots, any low spots, any inconsistencies, anything that's uneven, anything that's lopsided, and you can fix it from this angle. Okay? So always, when you're finishing the nails, always check from all of the different angles. Make sure that everything is looking even. Make sure everything is looking straight. I'm just kind of flowing my file all the way through to get a really nice contour through this nail, making sure that there's no high spots or low spots or lumps or bumps. You guys now see how much straighter that nail is, and how much prettier, I'm just gonna say, how much prettier that nail is just by contouring and coming around from this view. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on the second finger here. We're gonna check our shape. Now, before I check my shape, I'm actually gonna compare these two nails, because if this is on the same set, we wanna make sure that they're the same length. And you can kind of see this second nail is a little bit longer than our first. So I'm gonna straighten this out a little bit, and I'm gonna shorten this nail down a little bit too. Okay, so you guys remember when I said earlier, I'm not gonna worry too much about fixing that point from my other view? This is why. I don't spend a lot of time fixing that point from this view, because I'm gonna check my shaping and check my length from this view. So no need to spend and waste all that time from the other view. Still looking just a little bit longer on this one. So we'll take that down just a tiny little bit more. And again, we're gonna straighten this out. Make sure everything is nice and even from side to side. And then I'm gonna look backwards down the barrel. Whew, you guys, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Look at that. Look at those uneven spots, okay? And again, when you're looking from this view, you think that looks nice and even. But when you turn that nail around, you look backwards down the barrel, you can see all of those uneven spots, especially if I rock that nail up and down. So again, this is why it's super important to turn that nail around, check from all of your different angles, smooth out all of those lumps and bumps. And you guys, when I'm filing from this direction, I'm just kind of floating my file all the way through that whole surface. So I'm starting on one side, filing all the way up and over. So that's really going to help to get everything nice and smooth and contoured. Okay, coming all the way through, smoothing that out. I've got a little bit of a high spot. I think you guys can still see that on the right side here. So I'm going to put a little bit more pressure right through that free edge. So right up in here, I'm not putting a lot of pressure with my file back here. Putting pressure right at that free edge, and again, kind of filing all the way through that whole surface. All right, I think we're almost there. Just rounding out that side just a little bit more. I'm going to round out this side just a little bit more, and then one more time through. All right, one last little spot. Okay, you guys, now you can really see that difference. Now you can see that nail is a lot more smooth. It's a lot more contoured. I'm going to check my shaping one more time. Let me dust this off so that we can really compare. All right, I think we are good there. Okay, now let's turn our dust collector off. And you guys, already I am seeing one little thing that I'm gonna need to fix here. Victoria, I know you want to see the top coat, but I want you guys to see something. And I always say this, when things happen, I did it on purpose so that I could show you how to fix it. I didn't, but I like to say that. But you guys, I'm gonna clean this nail off. I just dusted it off, used a little bit of my swipe here, and I wanna show you guys something. So on this nail, I did file a little bit more than I should have on my sides, okay? So I want you guys to see exactly how you would fix that, okay? Because you don't want to leave your client with kind of a missing section on their nail. So you guys, things like this happen in salon. It happens. As long as you know how to fix it, you're fine, okay? I'm going to take our protein bond, And we're going to do one more coat of our protein bond. And we're going to just go over that whole nail. And we're going to go over this one as well. You guys, on this one, yeah, we could use just a tiny little bit more product right through that side there. Or you could just do a quick little stamp design over that or something like that. This one, there's not a ton that I would really be concerned about replacing, but this one, there is a little bit of product on there. So I'm going to come back with that soft white and glitter mixture. And we're going to grab our liquid again. And I'm just going to pick up a tiny, tiny little pearl. So just a really tiny pearl. Just enough to kind of blend that in. Okay, so you guys see just a tiny, tiny little pearl. I'm going to set that right on the nail. I kept this fairly wet so that it's going to really blend in. And I'm just kind of tapping that down in there. Just kind of blending that in. Letting that liquid help it flow. And just enough to cover that space. Now you guys, I'm not going to necessarily need to do any more filing on this. It is fairly smooth because I kept that pearl wet. Same thing on this side. Again, just a tiny, tiny little pearl. Keep that wet. Set that right down on the side. Just kind of let that flow and blend in. And I think we're going to be okay. All right. So you guys, again, these kind of things happen. Don't panic about it. Don't think you have to take the whole entire nail off and start all over again. You don't. Okay. Just knowing how to fix these little things is going to make your life much easier. All right, you guys, maybe let's add just a tiny little spot right over on this nail as well, just to make sure that we've got that good even color on there and even structure. So again, just kind of tapping that little pearl right down in there, using the liquid from my brush to help that kind of flow and just blend out the edge. Okay, now I will let this cure out all the way and dry out all the way. But I know you guys want to see the top coat on this. So normally I would let this completely dry. Make sure to, let those dry. Again, you don't have to file these as long as you got that application smooth. So say maybe you had a couple of nails that you had to do this little touch up on. Go over to the next hand, finish the next hand, do your top coat and all of that. And in that meantime, while you're working on that other hand, these two nails are going to dry. Okay. Now, I'm not going to wait until these are completely dry, just so you guys can see the final look. But normally, make sure you let the nail dry completely. Now, those of you that were saying top coat, now it is time for top coat. All right, so getting excited here. So we're going to use our ultimate finish top coat, and especially if you've got those little areas that needed to be touched up. I love using the ultimate finish because it is a little bit of a thicker consistency, and it is going to help to kind of self-level and really make sure that that nail is nice and smooth. So let's go ahead and do our top coat. We're going to seal that nail. And with that top coat, you guys, you can really start to see that little bit of glitter kind of popping out. You can see that kind of snowy, icy kind of a look. Come all the way around here. You guys, again, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join our community. Get all of this great free education. And again, we'll do our ultimate finish on our second nail here. And again, you guys, once I get that top coat over the glitter, that is when those glitters really pop out and really just shine and sparkle. So make sure you get all the way to your edges, capping those edges all the way through. And I just kind of let this just kind of settle in a little bit. So you can see that even though we had that little bit of an area that we needed to touch up, our top coat is going to settle right down in there. And it's going to leave us with a nice smooth finish. Okay, I'm going to get this into the light. Normally I would cure my ultimate finish for a full 60 seconds. Today we're just going to do maybe a quick 30 seconds, enough to freeze that into place so that you guys can see that final look. But in the meantime, you guys, make sure again, hit that subscribe button, join our community, get all of this great free education. Any of the products that I was using today, this is all Young Nails stuff, Young Nails products that I have, everything from the table towels, the files, our acrylic that we were using. Everything is all young nails. Everything is on sale right now. So make sure you jump over to the website afterwards and see all of the great goodies on sale. Now you guys can see that final look on those nails, that really pretty wintry sparkly ombre and just that snowy white acrylic. So you guys hopefully had a lot of fun today. Hopefully you guys will try out our new soft white acrylic in the extreme low odor. And you guys have a wonderful afternoon. We will see you guys back next time. And thank you all for joining us. See you guys next time.